Now, number 4 on the handout. So we've mentioned this before, so I just want to emphasize again, for lexical processing or lexical test, only left hemisphere is activated, but for semantic processing, you see activation in both right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. Okay. Number 5 is about a split brain patient. So the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, now the connection is broken because the corpus callosum is severed. So these two parts of the brain cannot communicate very well. And because of the contralateral function of language or of the brain, instead the left hemisphere is responsible, controls the activity of the right side of the body. Right hemisphere controls the activity of the left side of the body. So for split brain patients, when they see something on the right visual field, the information will be passed to the left hemisphere. And because left hemisphere is responsible for language, they will be able to name the item on the right visual field. Okay. But when the object or the item is on the left visual field, now the information now is passed to the right hemisphere. But now the information will not be able to pass to the left hemisphere, which is in charge of language. So they will not be able to name the item. They will say, I see nothing. But because the right hemisphere controls the activity of the left side of the body, they will be able to pick up or they will be able to point to the item, or they will be able to draw. This is something that I didn't talk about in class, but I found it interesting. So if you ask a patient with split brain, standing in front of a board that is separated, and ask them to fix eyes on the center of the board, and then a word will appear on the board, but one part of the word shows on the left side, and one part of the word shows on the right side, the word heart. So letter HE appeared on the left side, ART appeared on the right side. And then you ask them, what word did you see? They will only say art. Okay, so I will let you to figure out why that's the case. But when you ask them to point with the left hand to the word she saw, they will point to he. Okay, not art. So try to explain what's happening here. Okay, let's look at neuroplasticity. So this study, this figure, we will see probably several figures like this. Be sure, make sure that you read this carefully. So these are the frequency of complex syntax, 3 by children of from 3 groups: focal lesion, okay, early focal lesion, and then specific language impairment and typical developing children. Okay, the 3 group of children. What we see here is that the 2 group of children with a focal lesion with brain damage and children with a language impairment, their morphosyntactic skills is the same, is similar, no difference. But remember, these 2, so one has brain damage, so this one has brain damage, but specific language impairment children, they don't have brain damage. So this suggests that morphosyntax can be developed in spite of the brain damage. And maybe the brain is plastic enough so that even one part of the brain is damaged, the other parts of the brain may take over. Okay. Keep in mind here, so this study, So this is the title of the study. They looked at the narrative in children with specific language impairment, early for cognition, and the Williams syndrome. But of course, as you can see from here, they also include children with typical development, right? Okay. So actually, they have 4 groups of children. So this is something that they're keeping. Four groups of children studied. But here, figure 3 only compares 3 groups, right? So keep in mind, only groups. So make sure that what are these 3 groups? Typical development. TD equals typically developing. And we will see another part of the study that compare the other 3 groups. Okay. Okay. Okay, this part, so there are 2 questions here. Basically, you need to know that how to get the answers for this question. So where are the results that corresponds to the answers of these 2 questions, to these 2 questions? Okay. Now, if you compare the music with the speech, okay, compare these 2, then you will be able to answer the second question. Does children prefer the speech over non-speech, right? Because the brain activated more strongly to, particularly the left hemisphere activated more strongly to the speech than to non-speech, to music in this case. To answer the question, to answer question 1, you need to compare these 2 conditions. Okay, you need to compare modest speech versus strength. You need to compare, yes, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere activation to modest speech and the stranger speech, because these are all about language. Stranger speech, modest speech. What we see here that left hemisphere is more activated than the right hemisphere when these children are responding to speech. Okay, so which suggests that left hemisphere is dominant for language. Okay, so this is this one I will just skip this one because I think it's you know what it's about. Okay. Broca's aphasia, Wernicke's aphasia. So because if there is a damage to Broca's area, we will see impaired speech. Morphosyntax will be also impaired. Grammar as well. Because typically when we look at the grammar, so we focus on morphosyntactic. So that's why Broca's aphasia sometimes is also called a grammatic aphasia, because they have difficulty with grammar. Okay, the main feature of their speech is non-fluent. Okay, a lot of pauses, hesitation, kind of broken. So I have some examples here. A, so there's a Broca's aphasia. B, also Broca's aphasia. C is Wernicke's aphasia, and then D is also Broca's aphasia. This example is also Wernicke's aphasia as well. Okay. Yeah, if you look at number 9, so basically, you need to know where to find the answer. The question is, what does figure 2 tell us about chimpanzee and other species' ability to learn a human language? So this is millions of utterance, MLU, okay, millions of utterance. So these are the hearing children. And then there were also deaf children here. Another deaf children here. So we see that the deaf children and hearing children, all the 4 children, you see improvement, okay, of the language skills as measured by millions of utterance. But for Mim Chimsky, okay, the chimpanzee, no change, and never go beyond the 2, okay, very low. So think about the 2, if it is 2, there's 2-word combination, right? 2 morphemes. So it's less than 2 means that most of the time the 2-word, 2 morpheme utterances. So that's the conclusion. Basically here, you can find it here. No evidence of an ape's ability or chimpanzee's ability to use a grammar. Okay, number 10. So that's very straightforward. So in this case, now we're comparing the ASL production skills. And these are total score, the higher score, the better. So we have 2 groups, left brain injury, right brain injury, okay? And of course, it just easy for you. So this is left brain injury on the right side, left or right brain injury. And if you compare the scores, total score of these groups is obviously the right side, they did better, right? That is the right side means the right lesion sinus. So the right lesion sinus performed better than the group with left hemisphere damage. So very similar to what we have seen in hearing participants. Okay, 11, right ear advantage for language, left ear advantage for non-linguistic stimuli. So number 12 will not be on the exam, but it is very similar to the study, 2006 study that we have seen before here, with some slight difference. So this study, they found that language is left naturalized throughout life. So which is kind of like the invariance hypothesis. But they also see that right hemisphere contribution language processing is also strong early in life and decreasing throughout childhood. So this is a kind of interesting, not exactly the same as the finding what we've seen here. So what we see here that the left hemisphere involvement seems to be decreasing. Okay, that's the emphasis. But here they found the right hemisphere contribution decreases through childhood. So. Okay, so straightforward, no need to look at. So here, what we see here. So think about visible sounds with visible articulation versus sounds without visible versus sounds without visible articulations. Okay. Let's get Down syndrome and the Winning syndrome. These two groups are actually in the book. I think in page 407 something, compared these two groups, Down syndrome and Winning syndrome. So these two groups, they both have disability, intellectual disability. As if you look at the IQ, low IQ, right? Both low IQ for both groups. No IQ for both groups. Okay, no IQ for both groups. But different language performance. Okay. Whose performance is better? If you look at these two samples, whose performance is better? WS, Winning syndrome, or Down syndrome?
Down syndrome.
Yeah, Down syndrome, right? So what do we see? But they have the same IQ, okay? Similar IQ. So which suggests that there is a dissociation between, let's see, between language and the cognition. Okay, so this is what we shows. In the exam, we may have some more samples like this. Okay, and then you will need to tell me what is this sample, or where does this sample come from? From somebody with Winning syndrome or with somebody with Down syndrome. So suppose I hide this. Let's see. Yeah, suppose I so you tell me it was. So I ask you the question. This sample, this narrative sample is from an individual with A, Down syndrome, B, Winning syndrome, C, typical developing. Maybe that's not good. I will just use this two, okay? Make it simple. So you get an idea. Okay. Okay. This one will not be in the exam. So, okay. But you know, you should know about this. So basically for language processing and the face processing, for both language processing and face processing, children with Winning syndrome and children with Winning syndrome, they show some unusual activities in comparison to typically developing children. Okay, NC equals TD. Okay, typically developing. Okay. This figure, so two things. Probably several things, three things, or two things. First of all, let's see. So this is all about children with Winning syndrome or individuals with Winning syndrome. So first of all, individuals with Winning syndrome, the vocabulary age exceeds the mental age, right? Okay. 2, what is 2? 2 means the mental, the intellectual, mental, cognitive skills, and vocabulary skills both show development. That's just to show growth. Sometimes, in other words, you can say both show growth. With age. Okay. Let's see. Do you see anything else here? Another thing that we can find here, that if you compare the vocabulary skills of these children, 11, 15, 16-year-old, with typically developing children, you will see that the kind of like the vocabulary skills lag behind typically developing children. Okay. For example, here you see the 11-year-old. The 11-year-olds with Winning syndrome has the 9-year-old has the vocabulary age, vocabulary skill of a 9-year-old TD child. You see, this is the 11-year-old child with 11-year-old children with Winning syndrome here. Okay, the vocabulary skill corresponds to 9-year-old typical developing children. So what we see here, that in spite of the strength of children with Winning syndrome, they are still lagging behind the typical developing children. So we will look at the strengths and the weakness of children from different populations. We need to make sure that we know who they are comparing to. Okay, if they're comparing themselves, comparing the language ability with the cognitive skills, we see that language is a strength for them. But if we compare them with typical developing children, then we see that they are lagging behind. Okay. This is easy, so you just know that these are some of the things that we look for when we are trying to see whether somebody has autistic syndromes. Okay. Now this here comes to the second study that we talked in one of the articles that we just mentioned. So here, this are the same article here. Let me see if there is a way for me to chart this. See. Not sure whether I can put it here. Okay, I cannot. Okay. I'll put it, but I guess I can. Oh. There way. Okay. I cannot copy to here. So anyway, so that's from the study that you know. But remember, but I want you to make sure that you know that, which groups of children are comparing to. So here, we're comparing. Here, we are comparing 3 groups of children. And they are Winning syndrome, SLI, and typical developing. So as you can see, the previous study they compared SLI, typical developing, and the children with brain injury, because that part of the study is interested in the neuroplasticity. But now this part of the study comparing these 3 groups, are interested in the relationship between language and the cognition. Okay. So first of all, if we look at the these 2 groups, children with Winning syndrome and the children with a specific language impairment, so highlighted in green. So they differ in IQ, right? They differ in the cognitive skills, because children with SI, normal IQ, children with Winning syndrome, below normal IQ. Let's see. On normal or low. Okay. So that's the cognitive difference. But what is interesting that they are not different. SLI and children have similar morpho-syntactic skills. So again, so we seem to see some dissociation between language and cognition, but that's the conclusion that we can draw based on what we see here. So morphology and syntax may develop somewhat independent of general cognitive abilities. Okay. So this. Okay. So what we see here, this conclusion is based on what we see here. Yeah. Okay. Any questions so far? You did clear? Hope you are silent, very silent. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Now this speech sample I've looked at here. So there are some emission areas. There are some commission areas I've indicated here. So the red ones, they are emission areas. The green ones are commission areas. Okay. Number one, frog going to sleep with the dog. So you typically would say the frog or a frog, right? So we have an emission of the article or determiner. And then here we have the emission of auxiliary, be going to, is going to, or was going to sleep with the frog. The dog get in the bowl should be either gets in the bowl or got in the bowl. So there's an emission of the tense morpheme, past tense morpheme, or present tense morpheme. He growed or grows. So again, so is a also an emission area, past tense morpheme. Here put it. So they used the irregular morpheme, or use the regular morpheme for the irregular verb. So that's a commission area. Woke. So instead of woke, again similar. Okay. The same thing. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's see. Emission of the, not emission, okay. Commission. Use the irregular, use the regular past tense morpheme on regular sorry, on an irregular verb. This two. Okay. This two is the. So it is also a commission error. And then 9.3, these are the age of the children. Okay, these are the age of the children. This child is sleeping, missing ing. The last one, the dog and the boy are looking on, instead of, it should be look at the frog. So again, have a commission error. Something is used, but it used the wrong thing. That's a commission. Okay. So this the answers of this question already. So I'm not going to go over this. The only thing about here, number 6, some of you may notice that actually imitation and eye contact, they are both high level cognitive abilities. But eye contact, the idea is here is that eye contact seems to be a higher art of activity than simply imitation. Both of them, okay, both of them are high level, but eye contact is higher, is even higher than simple imitation. Okay, number. So let's look at here. So there are some questions. First of all, we see that, so these are the results, okay? These are the results. So you can think of this as a results, okay? Then, of course, these are the results in words. Okay. Results in words. Yeah. What do you see here? Results in words. Results in words. What you need to do is find out the results, corresponding results in the figure, okay? So the English tense system make English speaker specific actions in the same tense as more similar and action in different tense as less similar. So let's see. Action in the same tense. What are the actions in the same tense? These are same tense, right? Okay. So basically, the actions in B. Actions in different tenses. Different tense here, you see here. So A, basically. Or these are the different tense. These are different tense. Okay. Different tense refer to what? So look from here. And then we have same tense here. These are the red ones. Okay. Now, of course, here we have English speakers, Indonesian speakers. Since the question is about English speaker, rated the two pictures to be more similar, which is more similar. So these are the similarity, right? Similarity ratings. So the higher the number, so the more similar. So these are more similar. And this refer to what? This is same tense. Same tense is what? Is A or B? Same tense. B, right? So rated the two pictures in B to be more similar than the two pictures in A. You can put the question in the chat if you have any. Okay. So this question, the second question, the same thing. So you know it now already. That's the red bar in the histogram. So these are histogram on the right side of the figure. So right side of the figure represent the similarity rating on the pictures in A or B. So we already saw. So this red one on B. So, you know. Now, this is from the one of the experiments study. In the second experiment, they also found that they also administered the same test to the bilinguals, Indonesian English bilinguals, but the tested some of the bilinguals in English, and then they tested the other bilinguals in Indonesia, and then they found that the English, when tested in English, or the group of bilinguals who are tested in English, have very similar pattern as those English speakers. But when they are tested in Indonesia, the pattern was in between, so not similar to the Indonesia speakers. Okay. So basically, you need to see if the same as English. So these are the English, and these are the Indonesian. The Indonesian speakers are not the same as the monolingual Indonesian speakers. This one I think is very easy, so I'm not going to. So you know it. So these are the number of characteristics of the anagrams. The higher the number, the better. So this group, you can say these are the 4 groups. Four groups of participants. And the first one, this group did better. Okay, did the best. Solved the most anagrams. So very clear. Okay, so number 3 is about the differences, the cross-linguistic differences in number or numerical expressions on mathematical thinking. So a mathematical thinking is a very fancy term. Basically, here it is math. You can think about it, math learning. Yeah. The Chinese children did better than the American children on counting, abstract counting. Okay. The same thing for 1997 or 1995 study. And this 1995 study found that the structural difference between these 2 languages, affect the way that children count. So that's the conclusion. Maybe I will just write it here. Okay, so that's the result. Make it easier for you. Okay. But none of the English, most importantly, none of the English-speaking children, English children, did that. Okay, so this question, number 5, about the color perception. So first, you know what is within category, between category. So think about this. So there's different shades of color. So on the left side, you have blue, light blue category. On the right side, then about category. So dark blue category, make it easy. Light blue category. So all these different shades on the left side, they belong to light blue category. So there are different shades within the same category, okay? And then on these colors on the right side, they all belong to the dark blue category. So they are they are within the same category. But if you pick one color from this side, the left side, and compare it with a color on the right side, you're comparing two shades of color that fall in different categories. That's between category. Different category. From different categories. Okay, between category, sometimes called cross category. Okay, between category, cross category. Now, one thing that I want you to know, what is category advantage? If you look at the abstract, you read here, moreover, this category advantage was eliminated by verbal but not spatial dual task. What is interesting is that category advantage was not mentioned before here. So, but it says this category advantage. What does it mean? So you have to find the information about this category advantage. What is this category advantage? Okay. This category advantage. And it's found here in this sentence, the previous sentence. Russian speakers were faster to discriminate two cards when they fell into different linguistic categories. Fell into different linguistic categories. What's that? Look at it here. Fall into different linguistic category. That's a between category, right? Okay. Then when they were from the same category, that's within category. So basically, if you want to rephrase the sentence, Russian speakers were faster to discriminate two corners that come from, let's see, different categories. From different categories that will be between category corners. Those that is then to within category corners. That is those that come from the same category. So hopefully, so this make it easier for you. So basically, what we see here, okay, is the same. Okay, paraphrase. Okay. Now you know the results. Now let's see. So that is the category advantage. Now, if we look at it here, so this figure summarizes the results, okay, in the abstract. So these are the mean reaction time. So remember, mean reaction time, the more time you spend means that the slower, okay, the poorer the performance. So remember, who is faster, which is faster, right? Which is faster? Russian speakers will faster discriminate what? Discriminate between category, right? So this is, so less time, faster. So this is faster. So this is faster. The gray one is faster. How to say it? This is faster. Sorry. Okay, let's try it again. This is faster. Still not enough space, sorry. Okay, so this is the faster, okay? Then, which means the faster what? Between categories. So if you need to fill out here, so what is this? So this gray should be between category, right? Okay. Across category. And then this one is slower, so it is within category. So what we see here is within category for the white column, white bar. And we see a difference here between these two. What they say that English speakers tested on the identical do not show a category advantage. So since we find a difference between the within category and the cross within category and the between category, so we know now this part points to the results of the Russian speakers, and this part belong to the English speakers because we don't see a difference between these two. Okay. So language A is Russian, language B is English. Do the gray bars represent particular mean reaction time to discriminate two colors, cross category or within? We already mentioned the gray bar. This gray bar is between category or cross category. Right. Okay. Now number 6, I already gave you the answer. So Navajo dominant children were more likely to choose a yellow stick to go with a blue stick because they focus on the same thing, stick, okay, shape, it's the same shape. But English dominant children were more likely to choose the blue rope to go with the blue stick. So English speaking children, I should say English dominant children, they do not focus on the shape, they focus on other features than shape. So maybe the corner in this case. Okay. Number 7, agentive language. What is a agentive report? So type A. So because we have a lot of examples of agentive language. Basically, she flopped her napkin. She had the ignited napkin. She overturned the table. So those are all examples of agentive language. And so since this report included a lot of examples like that, it's called the agentive report. And the other report, napkin flopped, table overturned. So these are non-agentive language. And since this report included most examples of non-agentive language, so it's called non-agentive report. What is the conclusion of this study? So the results are here, right? The results are here. Okay. So those participants, research participants who read this part, who read the agency report, they ruled that Mrs. Smith, the lady who mentioned in the report, need to pay more in fines than those participants who read the non-agency report. So that are the results. So what's the conclusion? How to interpret these results? And so the answer lies in the title. Subtle linguistic cues influence perceived blame and financial liability. That's the conclusion of this study. Yeah. You may find it also here, a subtle difference in language caused a big difference in donors, or in big difference in perceived blame and financial liability. Okay. Question 2. And here, the same thing. Okay, last one. So first of all, you look at the results. English and Spanish speakers described intentional events similarly. So these are the description described intentional events similarly. So which one is the intentional events, this one or this one? Since we see similarly, right? So these are the similar. This gray bar and the white bar are similar, so no difference. So this part we know X is the intentional event, and then of course Y, event type Y is accidental. Okay, so that's the first question. Then we have two languages A and B. Since the first sentence says English speakers and Spanish speakers describe the intentional events similarly, so we cannot figure out the answer for this question, or we cannot figure out the identity of a language A and B just by looking at this. So we need to look at something else. So what is here? English speakers, when it comes to accidental events, English speakers use the more agentive language. So these are the proportion of agentive language. So the higher the number, the more agentive language used. So since this sentence says English speakers use the more agentive language than the Spanish speakers, okay? So this is more, less, right? So English speakers use the more agentive language than Spanish speakers. So language A is English, right? Okay. So similar patterns were found in memory task. So these are the description, these are the memory task. Okay. So you know. I think that's it. That should cover everything on the exam. I should say that everything means the regular 100-point question. Okay. For the bonus, there may be something new, something not covered here. That's for the bonus question, but for the regular questions, you should find all the information here. So I would recommend that you focus on the study guide here. And if anything not clear on this, so then you can find the relevant information either in the reading or in the PowerPoint presentation. But I don't think you really need the readings or the PowerPoint slides. So you just need this this Word doc, this PDF document. That should be sufficient. Okay, I think that's it. Does this help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Email me with any question that you may have. So I may post the recordings on ELC as well in case somebody may need it. Okay.
Have a good break.
Thank you.
Okay. Happy Thanksgiving.